Okay, we've been discussing the argument in Abaye and Rava, kiddushin shem resur labiyah, that a person marries a woman, and as a result of the marriage, he's not able to act on the marriage to cohabit with the woman. Is it a marriage or not? Rava says it's not a marriage. Abaye says it is a marriage. So we're bringing proofs back and forth to verify which opinion is correct. Toshma. It's about 10 lines up from the bottom. Mishi kiddush achas mishtei achios. Person marries one of two sisters. Ve'eni yodea. Eze kiddush, kiddush, and he's not sure which sister he married. He has to give a get to both of them. So the Gemara says, "Seif yitzrichalei." There's no chiddush in the ratio, but the chiddush is in the seif in the concluding case of the brisa. What's the case? Mace. Let's say before he gave a get to either of these women, he dies, and he dies. He has no children. V'lo ach echod. He has one brother. So neither of the women could remarry, right? A woman, let's say a man's married to a woman, he dies. The Torah says the widow is not permitted to remarry if there's a surviving brother with no children, correct? She's a Yavama. The Torah says she's called Yavama L'Shuk. She's a woman in waiting. She has to be released. Either he has to marry her or he has to give her the release, the Chalitza. But until that, she's not permitted to remarry. Here he cannot do Yibum, correct? Because he doesn't know which one is his wife. He doesn't know which one's the Yavama, because the mitzvah is only on the Eshazach B'Mokom Mitzvah. Only one, but since it's undetermined which is the wife, which was his brother's wife, not which is the sister, not which is the sister, not which is they're both sisters. These two women are. Correct. So he has to give chalitza to both. Okay. He gives chalitza to both. Because he gives one, maybe the other one is the widow. So since we don't know, Hoylo Shnayim, what about he has two brothers? He has the two surviving brothers. So if one gives chalitza and one gives yibum, is it a problem? It's not a problem. So let's say the one who gave chalitza to the one who was not the wife. So she definitely could. If it's the wife, she could remarry. If she wasn't the wife, she definitely could remarry because she never needed the chalitza. And now the second brother chooses to give yibum to the other one. So we said manupshach. Either she's the widow, she's the yavama, so he does yibum. And if she's not, there's nothing wrong with what? With marrying her. It was never right, because he didn't originally marry the first sister. So echad choletz echad miyabing. One does chalitza, and then the second one does yibum. We'll see in a moment. What about if the first one would want to do yibum, and the second one would want to do chalitza? It has to be specifically in this order. First chalitza, then yibum. Why? I'll explain this, because the Gemara is going to discuss this in a moment. When a man dies, leaves a widow, he's childless, he has a brother. Why is she not permitted to remarry until the surviving brother does either yibum, does chalitza? Because there's a connection between the widow and what? And the surviving brother. It's called zika. Zika. He's attached. She's attached until that attachment is severed. What severs that attachment? Chalitza. Chalitza is the equivalent of a get. As a get severs the relation between husband and wife, chalitza severs the connection between the widow of the deceased and the surviving brother. That's what the Torah says. Okay? So now, let's say he would want to do yibum. The surviving brother wants to do yibum. Let's say they're two sisters. Let's say we know who's who. And he wants to marry the surviving, the sister of the widow. Is he permitted? He's not. He's not permitted. Why?
There's no zika.
No, the sister of his sister-in-law. The sister of his sister-in-law who's a widow who's connected to him through zika. Right? So that's called achos zukukoso. It's the sister of the zukuka. Because since he's semi-married to her, so by marrying the sister of the one who's semi-married to him, he's not permitted. It's rabbinical. It's rabbinical. Because since there's a degree of attachment, he could be confused with a man's married to a woman, and then he divorces and he wants to marry his sister. So the same thing is, since presently there's some level of attachment to the widow, and now he wants to marry the sister of the widow who he's attached to, it can confuse the other case. Rabbinically, he's not permitted to marry her. Whoever will get confused, it's irrelevant who will get confused. It's a siyog. It's a fence. Therefore, rabbinically, he's not permitted to marry her. Okay? So, but what happens if the first brother goes and gives chalitza? Right? Gives chalitza to one of them. So the only reason why he could have married the sister because it's achos kukoso. It's the sister of the one he's attached to. But since the first brother went and severed the relationship, he didn't sever the relationship. So there's no reason why he can't marry. He could marry his sister afterwards. He could marry the sister afterwards. No, this is in a case where unrelated. Unrelated. He could marry her. Because it's not the sister. See, the one who gave chalitza to one of them, again, a man's married to a woman. He gives chalitza to the woman. He dies, his brother gives chalitza. Now the one who gives chalitza wants to marry the sister. Is he permitted to marry her? There's no question here. Rabbinically, he's not permitted to marry her. A person's married to a woman. Again, a man is married to Rachel, divorce her. Is he permitted to marry Leah after he divorces her? No. Why? Because it's the wife, it's the sister of his original wife, although he's not married to the first one any longer. That's called achos ishto. Here, he's a woman. He's the only surviving brother. His brother dies. He gives a chalitza. Gave her the release. So he's not connected to her anymore. Now he wants to marry the sister. Rabbinically, he's not permitted to marry the sister. Why? Because again, that could be confused. Since originally there was an attachment, although today there's no attachment any longer, but since he was once attached, it's similar to the sister of the one he was once connected to. So it's similar to achos ishto. Okay? So this is called achos zekukoso, the sister of the one he was attached to. What about, you have two brothers here. Brother A goes and severs the relationship. Severs, does the chalitza. The three brothers. Brother A dies. No, one sister. One woman. Yeah, I want to get to the case that that you should ask 6 questions later, so we're trying to preempt it. Okay? One man married to one woman, they're 3 brothers. 3 brothers altogether. Brother A dies, so you have brother B and C. Brother B chooses to be the one to give chalitza. Is brother C permitted to marry the sister of the sister of the widow? Why not? Of course, exactly what you're saying. Because he didn't sever that relationship. So he could marry the sister of the widow. But brother B, who severed the relationship, because since he's the one, he severed it, it's like he divorced his wife, now he wants to marry the sister. Rabbinically, we don't allow. It's rabbinical. There's the zika, it's all rabbinical. There's zika is this attachment. She cannot remarry until she's released by the brother. So that attachment looks like they're married. So since brother B acted on that, he acted as if he was the husband because he severed it, and brother C was never involved. Therefore, C could marry the sister. B cannot marry the sister of the Yavama. Originally, they do have a zika originally, but that's going to be the chiddush, because since brother B acted to be the one that he acted as if he was the one married her, so therefore it's as if the other one, it's revealed, never really. Yeah, even though there was, but there was only a potential. It was only a potential to act on it. They all had a right to act on it.
Even the father.
No, the father has no zika. No, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different concept. That's like Rus and Boaz. That's Rus and Boaz. It's a whole different thing. The Ramban speaks about this. Okay?
Is there an attachment to those other relatives?
It has no relevance. It has no relevance. It was on a special level. Okay. Okay, let's see some of the facts, and after we have the facts, we'll ask questions.
If someone gets divorced, can the brother marry or divorce him?
No, of course not.
Then why should they?
No, that's achos. That's Eishes Ach.
So here we also
That's Eishes Ach. He's marrying the woman's not related. It's the sister of the widow. It's a sister of his sister-in-law. If your brother's married to a woman, are you permitted to marry the woman? He didn't give her chalitza.
the second brother gave her chalitza.
So
So the third brother would be marrying the.
he's marrying the sister. Was never. That's what I'm saying.
Is there a pecking order, Rabbi, of who goes to
The oldest should be the one, but if the oldest doesn't want, you go to the
all have this connection,
right.
so it starts at the top.
Right. The oldest brother should be the one should act on it. If he doesn't, then all the other brothers. Right. Okay. Hoylo Shnayim. So we have a case. You have two women. It's a question who is the wife. Okay. So if there's one brother, he has to give chalitza to both. If there are two brothers, echad cholitz v'echad miyabi. One gives chalitza, one gives ibum. Im kodmu v'konsu. What's the problem? He married two women, one of two women, and it's unclear. Right. If he has one brother, he gives chalitza to both. If he has two brothers, one gives chalitza, one does ibum. Right? Is there a problem on that? Okay, good. Im kodmu v'konsu. Rather than giving chalitza and yibum, they both fully married her. Emotzim osem yodem. Okay? Because the only reason, why do we say, let's say one would marry her. Let's say he marries one and she's not the Yavama. She's not the Yavama. The first one, let's say he married the sister of the widow. We don't know who was the wife. Right? And then the second one marries the widow. So the second one did Yibum, but when the first one did the Chalitza, he excluded himself from the mitzvah. Right? He excluded himself from the mitzvah when the first one married, because now the second one, so we say, because what happens is, because if the other one is attached to him still, hasn't released yet, she's achos kukoso. He's marrying the sister of the one who's attached to him still. Correct? Which rabbinically is a problem, but we say post facto, if he marries her, we're not going to force him to divorce her. Because it's only rabbinical. Fine. Wait. Dafka michlatz vada yivumi. We say, what is the order? First you give chalitza, one brother gives chalitza, then one gives yivum. Ava yivumi vada chalitz. Michlatz lo. Why does one have to give chalitza and yibum? Because if the first one does the yibum, has relations, the one he may be having relations with may not be the wife, so she's the sister of the one who he's attached to. So that's achos kukosa. That's like similar to achos ishto. Therefore, rabbinically, to prevent this, we say first you give chalitza, then you give yibum, because then we say monopshach. If the one you're having relations with is the yavama, so you're doing yibum. And if she's not what? The other brother already severed the connection. So the brother C, it's not a problem. Therefore, it's preferable, you should do first chalitza and yibum. Post facto, if they did, both of them did yibum, it's not a problem. Okay? because she's not a skukatim any longer. After the both brothers are married, Yibum was fulfilled. It's only when originally he married. But afterwards, after everything's said and done, who's she attached to? She either did Yibum, right, which is not a problem, or the brother did Yibum. So if the other, that means she's not connected to him any longer. But initially she was. Toshma, a new case. No, we're saying no. We say factually did Yibum. If he didn't do Yibum, it's a problem. Let's say the second brother dies, and now we're going to force the first one to divorce her. They were going to force him to divorce her because she is truly achos ukoso. The one you be married to, you're married to what? To the woman, right? No, because we know for certain. Because the only way the other one can be released is by you giving chalitza. The case we're talking about, the other brother ultimately is going to give the release. So therefore, it's not going to be a problem. Toshma. Shnayim shekichu shteyachus. Another case. First case was one man married one of two sisters. We're not sure. This two brothers married two sisters, which is not a problem. Excuse me. Not two brothers. Two people married two sisters. Zayn Yodea Eza Kiddush. Reuven doesn't know which of the two sisters he married. Zayn Yodea Eza Kiddush. They know they're brothers-in-law, but they're not sure who their wives are. Okay? You can imagine the rabbi running this marriage over here. Okay? So now what happens? So the women are not permitted to either of them. Zeh no sei shnei gittin. So each person has to give two gittin. Right? Each man has to divorce each one. Wait about a second. So it's kiddushin shem mesur labia. It would refute Rava. Hochanami shehukru b'sof nizarvu. Now initially they knew. Then it became uncertain who the wife they originally married. They kanami again. We're able to deduce it from the language. Diktona enu yodea. Loktona enu yodua. It says he doesn't know. It was not known. Shmami no. No, said Mrs. What's the chiddush? What's the chiddush? It's understood. Each one, there's a question who she's married to. So each one has to give the get to make sure that that they're divorced. Save it strictly. And we have in the case.
So how can you give a get to a woman that you were not married to?
But you may be married. It's a suffix.
You may be.
But so she's
not. Not be.
So it's either meaningless or it's meaningful. One or the other. Smart says we need for the chiddush is in the conclusion. Mace, listen to the story. Mace. Now, the people before they gave the divorce, they die. These husbands, they die. So now you have two sets of brothers. You have a set of brother A and brother B. We'll discuss in a minute how many brothers there are. And you have these two women. You have two widows. And the question is, whose widows are they? Okay? Meish, lezeach, lezeach. Each one has a brother. Zecholitz d'shteim, zecholitz d'shteim. Each one has his chalitza to each one of them. Why? Because there's a chance. We don't know, because if he gets chalitza to one, she may not be the widow of that brother. Right? Let's say a third party gives chalitza to a woman, and she's not there's no zika between the two of them. Because she's the widow of someone else. The act means nothing. So if his brother was not married to this woman, his act of chalitza means nothing. It's only meaningful if it's the widow of his what? Of his brother. So therefore each one has to give chalitza to both to make sure that they're giving chalitza to the one who's the Yavama. Of course he has to do chalitza to both. Because she's going to be achus u'koso. Let's say he gives chalitza to the right one. He can't have relations with the other one because she's the sister of the one he severed the zika from. It's like achus ishto, rabbinically. It's rabbinical. Okay? So each one gives chalitza to each of the women. Zeh cholitz l'shteim, zeh cholitz l'shteim. L'ze'echu l'shnayim. Okay. What happens if one brother who died, he had one brother, and the other one had two surviving brothers? Okay? The first one has to give chalitza to both. Right? He can't do chalitza to one and marry the other one, because what would it be? That's achos kukoso. It's the sister of the one who was attached to him originally. Vashnayim, what about the one who had the two brothers? Echot choletz vechot miyavim. The first one could do chalitza, the second one do yibum. Want to stop? That's like the first case. So why is this a greater kiddushin in the first case? Yeah. Here, there's a greater kiddush. What? No. We had the same thing before. Same thing. We said chalitza then yibum. What is this case adding to the first case? We had the case before. Yeah, two surviving brothers. We say one gives two sisters. One gives chalitza, the second one does the yibum. Has relations. It's not a problem. Correct? So the same thing over here. We say one has one brother, gives chalitza to both. The other one has two brothers. One does chalitza, one does yibum. Why not? What? No, that's understood. But that's understood. That's poshut. But what we're saying then, again, it's saying the same thing. And the one who has two brothers, the first one does chalitza, second one does yibum. And in kodmu v'konsu ein motzim miyodum. A little verbatim. No, because no. This, and that says divkra michla tzvachad miyvumi. Because over here, see, when you're dealing with a case where you only have a man marries one of two sisters, and then he dies, and he has two brothers. One gives chalitza, one gives yibum. Okay. So the question is, why are we concerned? So that's what they do. It's not a problem. But over here, one of the brothers cannot do that. So if we let the second set of brothers, one do chalitza, the first one may do the same. Because it will be achos ukoso. It will be the sister of the one who was attached to him. The one who died had left one surviving brother. He has to give chalitza to both. Correct? He can't do one chalitza, one yibum. Why? Because he may have given the chalitza to the sister who was the widow. Now he's marrying the sister of the one who was attached to him. So under no circumstance could he have relations, marry the second one. It's only the second one, because the two brothers, one gives chalitza, one does yibum. Okay? But we're speaking about the same women. I mean, one man we say only chalitza, no chalitza and yibum, and have relations. The other, something, we could have a problem over here. Because we're allowing these women, we're treating the second group differently than the first one. What would be if the first one does the same thing? He'll do chalitza to one, he'll do yibum to the other. They could be confused. No, not with each. Each one has two brothers, it's not a problem. One person dies, he left one brother. The other one dies, he leaves two brothers. The one who left one brother has to do chalitza to both. Under no circumstance could he do chalitza to one and marry the other. But it's the same two women. We're speaking about these two women are part of the same question. Whose wives were they originally? The second, we treat them differently. The second, chalitza, even it's not a problem. So the person, for them it's not, why for me is it a problem? For me, I have to give chalitza to both. Under no circumstance could I first go chalitza marry the second one. And the second one, we allow the second brothers, it could be confusing. No, because the first case, there's nobody else involved with these women. The only one who's involved with these widows are only these two brothers. Here, there's a single man involved with these two women. But it's the same two women. You understand? So we say, if you use the same yardstick for everyone. The first brother, the first surviving brother, only chalitza, no yibum. Regarding the second brothers, we say, well, you allow both. Maybe you should allow both here. So because it can be confused, that's why we should not allow it. The case where there are only two brothers, there was one man, he's not sure remarried, not a problem. As we said, the Monavshach, one does chalitza, one does yibum, you have everything covered. There's nothing to be confused about. Exactly. So since because it's technically it's the same thing, but because it's more confused, therefore we shouldn't allow the second thing to take place, to allow the first one to give chalitza and the second one to do yibum, because it's more confusing. No, it's interesting. Ernie, he asked the question because evidently he's confused, and now he's not concerned that because it's confusing there'll be a problem. Okay.
And if both men have two brothers, and one of the brothers on each side want to do yibum.
Not a problem. No.
But they want to do yibum to the same woman.
No, of course not.
I know, but how does that work? Of course they can't do it. So who has the right to?
No, they couldn't. They both couldn't. They couldn't do it. How could they do it? They can't because.
They both can. So there has to be one.
No, we'll work it out. Work it out. Let's leave it at this. Now it's become more confusing, because again, one of them was the wife, because it's achus koso.
Right.
Okay, let's leave that case. Let's go a little further. We'll get back to that. I don't want to confuse people. Toshma. Okay, now this is going to be the case which we refute. Rav is going to be refuted from this case. Toshma, the Tani Tevyumi. Tevyumi is the name of a Tana. Tani Tevyumi. Lezeh chamisha bonim, lezeh chamisha bonos. Okay? A man has 5 sons, a man has 5 daughters. David spoke about the mitzvah of father marrying off children. Okay? V'oma achas, and he says, V'oma achas mimidosecho mekudeshes lachad mibonai. Man has 5 sons, man has 5 daughters. He says, one of your daughters should be married to one of my sons. Evidently, he's a shliach. He was made a shliach. See, by the daughters, they could be minors. The father cannot marry off his son. 5 sons made him a shliach. All 5 sons, he says, I'm marrying one of your daughters to one of my sons, and he didn't say which son. So now there's a question. One of the daughters, one of 5 are married to one of the 5. We're not sure to who. So each one of the 5 daughters is a suffixation ish. Correct? So each one of the sons, one son can't give a get because he may not be the husband. That means every one of the sons has to give a get to every one of the daughters. Right? Big sofa fees over here. Right? Okay? Kol achs v'achs tzricha chamisha gittin. Every daughter needs 5 gittin. Okay? This so far it's simple. 25 gittin have to be given here. Yeah. Okay? It's worse than jury duty here. Okay. Meis echod mehem. Now, what happens if now one of the sons die? There was no divorce given. No children. Meis echod mehem. Kol achas v'achas tzricho arbo gittin v'chalitza me'echod mehem. Each of them needs 4 gittin, because the one who died, it's not relevant any longer. And now, they need chalitza me'echad mehem. Only one brother has to give chalitza, because that widow, she needs a release. Misafik, it's a question. She may be the widow of the deceased. So how is she able to remarry? So as long as one of the surviving brothers gives chalitza, she's released. So, 4 have to give gittin, right? The fifth one can't give a. Because he's a separate husband. He's a separate husband. So the question is, but over here, the wives and husbands, the sons were never permitted to any of the daughters because we never knew who the wives were. So it's kiddushin shem misura labia, correct?
So each of these men have to give one to the same man has to give a divorce and a chalitza.
No. There's only.
There's 4. It says everyone requires a bill of divorce.
Right.
So there's 4.
The one.
Each woman receives 4 bills of divorce. One from each son.
Right.
And it says.
But chalitza just from one of the brothers.
So
All 4 brothers.
There's one brother who's
Right.
giving to the same woman chalitza and a divorce.
Right, because it may be his wife. He has to give a get because it may be his wife. Right? And he has to give chalitza because it may be the deceased wife. But one chalitza is enough just from one brother, right? Because the widow of brothers, only one brother has to give chalitza. There's only one widow. What does she have to give two women? There's only one widow over here. You give chalitza only to the widow. What do you have to give chalitza to 5 women? Their husbands are alive. Only one brother died. Yes, so one brother gives chalitza to every one of the women. One brother gives chalitza to every one of the women. You don't need the 5 brothers to be involved in chalitza. Correct? Okay, so now the question is, but over here, they never knew who the wives were. So there was never a time they were able to cohabit with them. So it's kiddushin, shem, isur, and labiyah. So it seemed, according to Rava, what did they getting? The marriages were never marriages. Maybe the same thing happened. Initially, they knew who the husbands and wives were, and then it became confused. But it says no. Initially, he says, I'm going to marry one of your daughters to one of my sons. That's the way originally it was arranged. So that means it was never known. And yet it says they need gittin. But according to Rava, that Kedusha Misur Bia is not a valid marriage. Why did it need gittin? Tiyufta, the Rava Tiyufta. Rava is refuted. Okay? It's irresolvable, and we ruled. As he said, throughout Shas, whenever there's non Abaye Rava, we always rule like Rava, except 6 cases. The Hilsa, Kavosi Dabaye, we rule like Abaye, the Kedusha Misur Bia, Havi Bia, Biyal Kigam. What's the kuf? The kuf is what? Kedushin, Shem, Sur, and Labiyah. That's the kuf, right, of the second grouping. Right? What? They may be divorcees. But there's something that writes l'chumrah. No. Every one is a definite divorcee. It's not a suffix. They had to be divorced because neither were permitted. But every one of them is a definite divorcee. She's definitely a divorcee. Each one received a get. No, she was married. She may have not been married. She's suffix, but she definitely needs a get because she may have been married. Yeah, right. Correct. Oh, that's ordinary Kohen. Right, correct. She wouldn't get Malkos. She would not get Malkos. Go with the Rove. No. Okay. Good question. We'll discuss it some other time. Okay, I just want to discuss over there. No. Your question is a question anyway. Whenever you have a suffix, if you have, let's go with the rope. This is probably not the one, because it's kavur. It's kavur. It's within the group. The question is within the group. That's a different question. You're asking a different question, David. You're asking each one has a chazokah. No, he says there's rove. The majority of them are not married. So let's go after rove and say probably you're not the married one. No, because this is kavur. This is like buying the meat in the store. You're not sure which store did you go into. It's in this grouping, I'm not sure which one was married. One of my daughters is married to one of your sons. Right? That's kavur. No, each one has to give it a get. It's a suffix. But we're not sure which get is worthless. Which one was the married woman. Okay, let's go a little further. We have just a few minutes. We'll come back to Tosas, what the Yalkagam is. The Mishnah tells us, Masab Chomish Noshim. There was an incident of 5 women, and a man takes a basket of figs and he gives it to the women. Says, I'm marrying one of you. Or we had the case where Rava learned or Abai learned the case. It couldn't be Kulchem. Remember we said Kulchem because that's At v'Chamor. Because it says 3 of the women are married and 2 of the sisters are not married. It's the Mishnah. Omar Rav Shma Maslis Narba. Rav says we're able to extrapolate from Mishnah 4 halachas. He took a basket of fruit, of figs, which was not his, which were shvius, and he marries them. So he said the marriage is a marriage, and all the women are married except for the two sisters. V'noket Rav biyodei tlas. Although 4 things could be drawn, the Rav only draws 3 halachas, extrapolates 3 halachas. Shema min ha-makarish perish shvius mekudeshes. Now, what are the fruits, the produce of shvius? Wait a second. What's the halacha? Makarish, the Ma'aseh Sheni. Person takes Ma'aseh Sheni, right? The first and second year of the sabbatical cycle. You take the second 10%. So what's the status of second 10%? It's called Ma'aseh Sheni. It has Kedusha, it has to be in Yerushalayim. What happens if the person takes the Ma'aseh Sheni, says, Harei Mukadeshes Li, with the Ma'aseh Sheni? Is she married? It's a Machlokes Tanoim. It's an argument. Is it your money, or is it Mama Gavoa? Ma'aseh Sheni Mama Gavoa, is it God's? You have a right to eat it, but you have no financial interest in it. We rule like Reb Meir, Ma'aseh Sheni Mama Gavoa, Eini Mukadeshes. She's not married. Perish Shvius, the produce of Shvius, also has Kedusha. Is it yours, or is it not yours? It may be hefker in terms of you're permitted to eat it. It's ownerless, but could you take possession of it? If you can't take possession of it, monetarily you have, she's Eini Mukadeshes, right? It's hefker. It's hefker. Separate discussion. No. That's something else. Kohen, there's a Mishnah later we have. Achatos of Tzimur Kohen eaten by Kohanim. They distribute the portions of meat to the various Kohanim. Right? The Kohen takes his portion of meat, says to women, Harei Mukadeshes Li. Is she married? She's not married. He has the right to eat it because you're eating off God's table. She's Eini Mukadeshes. So Ma'aseh Sheni Mama Gavoa, same thing. You have a right to eat it, but if you marry, it's not yours. To be continued.